Terrence Pop here with another episode live from the Lair. So yeah, we're gonna go over a few Repo stories here, but I'm gonna start this off here with a simple life lesson. Do not run from the police. I learned that lesson when I was like 9 years old, man. I ran the neighborhood out there in Oak Park. I suffered from EGS. I had absolutely no supervision. I was a raging fucking asshole as a child. And I had a lot of contacts with the police. They were always coming to my house once, twice a week, fighting, vandalism. I mean, you name it. You know, I didn't really burn anything and I didn't kill anybody, but I was a bad kid going down a bad road. So I knew who the cops were, and they knew me. And I remember I'm walking up to Burger Chef. It was up there on 9 Mile Road. Well, it used to be there by 9 and Coolidge. There's a bowling alley there now. Had my pocket full of fireworks. And I remember I'm walking into the parking lot, and I see the cops. They're getting out of their car because they're going to go in and get a burger, I guess. So they're see me, like, "Hey, Bob, come here." So I just take off running. And I remember the cop, just look on his face, shakes his head, holds his hands up, and goes, "Oh, we're running now. We're running." You know, I was just a kid. I didn't really know any better. Apparently they went in, you know, had their lunch, and then they got into their car and, you know, basically ran me down. You know, because I had the attention span of a gnat back then. I forgot about it in an hour. Yeah, I was lighting up fireworks with my buddies. And, you know, I'm like a block and a half from my house, and whoop, they roll up on me. Give me the fucking business. Pounding my head off this. What are you running for? Empty your pockets. You know, these are like the 1970s cops. They still had Colt Python 357s and shit. And they emptied my pockets. They took my pocket knife. They took my fireworks. And they're like, where'd you get those fireworks? Like, they want me to roll on people. And I'm like, I found them. And they're like, bullshit. We're going to tell your mother. They always said that, but they almost never came to tell my mother anything. Yeah, I really think it was some kind of sick game between them and us. I don't know. But anyway, you know, when I was doing the Repo thing, there was maybe 7 or 8 times that I literally got rolled up on by the police, you know, in a car, doing shit, and I always put my hands up, and never once did I even think of running. I learned my goddamn lesson. The only time I'm running from the cops, if murder is on the line. Other than that, I'm not doing it, because they have shit like dogs and pepper spray, you know, they'll shoot you, you know, and I don't know, man, you know, being a white guy in Detroit stealing cars, I really don't think they're going to cut you a break. Just saying, you know. Because let's face it, I mean, the only difference between me and a guy who was actually stealing cars is I had a pink piece of paper that the bank gave us that basically said, you know, this is in lieu of title, and you're authorized to repossess this car. And of course, if it wasn't a car that was, you know, that belonged to a police officer, we would call it in ahead of time, but sometimes, you know, it didn't get radioed out, and, you know, had the gun drawn on me a few times, you know, like, hey, it's all good, bro. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but it was some good money for, I mean, for the amount of hours you work and how much money you get. That was actually pretty good, because I'm not one of those guys who can go to school full time and then work a full-time job during the day. I'm just not built like that. You know, my focus was on school, and then I did other things to make money that didn't require as much time or effort. And yeah, they were dangerous, but you know, danger pays. What are you gonna say? Now, this is actually one of the more dangerous ones. This is one of the more dangerous Repo stories. Now, I went out with my boss, and we're in his A-Team van, we called it, you know, because back then the A-Team was still pretty fresh. They'd just come off the air, but you know, they were still doing reruns. and he had the back of the van would open up, and then he had like this. You could actually tow cars with it. It would come out, and then he had the tools and the whole deal. It was actually a pretty sweet setup he had. And we're looking for this one IROC C. The guy had the car for about 13 months. It was all tricked out. But we couldn't see the car anywhere. When we rolled all this, we checked all of his relatives. We checked all the parking lots around the area, all the streets. I mean, we looked for this car like 2 or 3 hours a day. You know, I probably looked for it with him for like three days during that week, and then other people had looked for it for about a week before that. So my boss had looked for this car for about 2 weeks. So we decided, you know, we're going to look in the garage behind his house. Now in Detroit, back in the day, you used to just take your garbage and take it out behind your garage, and then there was an alley back there, a service alley, where the garbage trucks would come down and they would service all the garbage instead of taking it out to the street, which they do today. So the garage had a front door and a back door, garage doors. And I remember I go to the end of the block and I start walking down the alley. Now everyone in Detroit has a motherfucking dog. Okay, dogs is going fucking crazy. I mean, you can't sneak up on anybody in that fucking city. I don't even know how people even try. But the back of the guy's garage, the door was, he had hit it or something because it was off kilter. So there was about 18 inches of clearance from the ground to where the door was. So, I was back then. I was thin and spry and young, and I remember I got in the Pro and rolled right in there, and there's the fucking car. So I'm looking at it, and the tires, they're not all the way flat, but I can tell it's been sitting for a while because the tires are not fully inflated. Had dust on it. There was some of those tracks from a cat or a raccoon or whatever walked on it. So I'm looking, and I notice that around the fucking I want to say it was one of the suspensions on the front tire. That went to the frame. He had this chain. It was like battleship chain. It was huge. I mean, I wouldn't say it was battleship chain, but it was, we're 2 inches. The links were 2 inches in diameter, and it went around like this part of the car, and then it was in the concrete. And then because he had basically busted a hole in the concrete, put the chain in there, and then he had poured cement over it. So I remember I'm looking, I'm like, holy fuck. And I heard a door slam. I scurry back to the end of the garage, under the door, and I just take off at a sprint. I run down the end of the block. I would say it's about 6 houses, like 250 feet. And I turn left, and I go to the corner by the stop sign, and somebody had taken out like some lawn clippings and some other shit was out there by the side of the road. Now I'm standing there, waiting to get picked up, by my boss in his van because he was going around the block. And all of a sudden I hear it sounded like something hit the sign, and then something hit the garbage can, and then I heard the boom, boom, and I'm like, holy fuck, I'm being shot at. And the guy had literally come onto his front fucking yard. Okay, and he got on the sidewalk, and literally I'm on the sidewalk, he's on the sidewalk, I'm about 250 feet away, 6 houses, it's dark. I had a street light not over me, but there was one that was working like 3 or 4 street lights down, because I'm pretty sure if the street light above me had been working, thank God Detroit sucks, and like every 11th street light is the only one that works, he probably would have hit me. So this motherfucker squeezed off 2 goddamn rounds at me. I'm like, holy fuck. I jump behind the garbage can, and this guy's yelling some shit. And then my boss whips by him in the van with the door open. And I remember I jumped into the van, and we kept going. I'm like, holy fuck, that dude shot at me. And now, that's a big faux pas, okay? You don't pay your bills, then you shoot at people that are coming to take the fucking vehicle that you can't pay your bills for. Oh, shit. So we didn't even call the fucking Detroit police. We called state police. And they rolled out there because a couple of other neighbors had reported in also. Detroit's response time is shit. So once the state troopers show up there, then the Detroit police show up, and it was like a parking lot of people out there, and they fucking cuffed and stuffed that motherfucker, took him to fucking jail, and then we called the wrecker, and technically we're not supposed to go into your garage and take the vehicle, but the state troopers and the Detroit cops had opened the garage up and said, he was a repo man, he was looking to see if the car was in there, and they asked me, did you go in the garage? I'm like, nope. I looked at it from the broken garage doors, not all the way to the floor. I was just on the ground looking, and they're like, okay. And then they came in with a grinder, cut the chain, and took the fucking car. I don't even know what happened to that guy. I hope he went to jail. I mean, pulling guns on people's one thing, but taking fucking some stupid pot shots at a fucking young ass kid because you can't pay your fucking bills, that's just fucked up. Okay, that really pissed me off. I don't know, if he didn't go to jail, I probably would have came back and did some fucked up shit to him. Here's another one. Okay, now this is a weird thing, a lesson I learned from the guy I worked with, is when people pull guns, if they start talking, they really don't want to shoot you. It's when they just pull guns and start shooting do they really want to shoot you. So we're going after this one other guy's car. This is a doctor, all right, pediatrician. I don't know what this fucking guy's problem was. Had a Mercedes. He owed an insane amount of money on it. I think he was down like a year and a half in payments. I have no idea what was going on in this guy's fucking world. So literally, we go to his office, and we're like, hey, we're here to get your car. He gets all fucking stupid, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, hey, man, we're just here to get your car. So I'm out in the back, I go out the front door. My boss stays in there and yells at the guy just for a little while, getting him really stirred up. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. But I went around the fucking building, and I was standing by the car. And I was, I had my key ring, and I'm going through to find the key, and I get the door open, and he had one of those alarms on there and starts squealing. And apparently the doctor ran through the office, came out the back door, and pointed a gun at me and said, get the fuck away from my car. And I'm like, I'm just here to take the car, man. I got the key, I got the pink sheet. And he's just running his fucking mouth. And this time, by this time, the guy I was working for comes around the building, sees him, pointing a gun at me, and is just like, yeah, this is fucking horse shit. And they had some verbal shit going on. And, I step away from the vehicle because I really don't want to get shot. And the doctor jumps in his vehicle and takes off, and then drives across the fucking grass and down the fucking embankment, and then, left part of his, part of the bumper ripped off the vehicle. I was like, what the fuck? This guy must be on drugs or something. So, again, this was not in Detroit. We called the local city PD, and the guys in the business next door saw the whole deal, and everyone gave statements, and that guy got, hemmed up for that shit too. I think he wound up getting like 3 years worth of probation and charged with a low-level felony, and I think they were doing proceedings to pull his medical license, and I don't know how successful they were on that. Usually probably didn't go anywhere after that. Now, if he did not finish probation, then I think they would have a case to pull his medical license, but that guy was a fucking asshole. All right, we'll leave it right there. I got a couple more gun stories. Hopefully you guys will like those. I don't know. So many goddamn stories. They all blur together. I should have wrote them down and write a book about it. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.